Hey guys, how's it going? This is Guy Santos bringing you another video. And episode 6 of season 4 is finally out. And let me tell you something, it seems slow, like it was just dragging things out. One of those episodes made just to push the season forward. But nope. When you put the pieces together, this episode revealed a major rule of the series. Fear creates monsters, and maybe hope creates weapons. Before we get started, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel because a lot of people who watch these videos still aren't subscribed. And honestly, that really helps the channel grow and keeps this kind of content coming your way. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Man, Jade came back with a crazy vision. He saw where the children's bones were. He saw the door. He realized that those bones might be the key to breaking the cycle. Then Boyd looks at him and basically says, "Okay, but you saw that on a mushroom trip, man." And honestly, Boyd's not wrong. Imagine being the sheriff of that town. Boyd has already seen things that would mess up anyone's head. And even so, now Jade shows up saying, "Trust me, I had a vision while I was high and found the solution." It's not exactly the kind of plan you just approve without asking questions. But the thing is, the crazy stuff usually turns out to be true. And Boyd knows that better than anyone. Boyd has already learned the hard way that place doesn't work with normal logic. First came the talismans, which just looked like weird rocks, but ended up being protection. Then came the worms, which seemed like a curse, but were actually what took down the Smiley. So when Jade shows up talking about a hidden door in the colony house, Boyd might be suspicious, but he can't just dismiss it. At the end of the episode, Boyd does what needed to be done. He grabs the sledgehammer and breaks down the wall. And just like that, Jade's vision was real. The door was really there, hidden inside the colony house. But the discovery comes with a huge problem. This isn't just any passage. It leads to the tunnels, the place where the monsters stay. The colony house has always been one of the few places where people could catch their breath a little. Now imagine finding out that in the basement of this place, there's a passage that leads straight to the tunnels. Man, it's terrifying. The place that used to protect everyone could become the easiest way for the monsters to get in. And now Boyd says he's going to come up with a plan. From what the episode sets up and from what we've already seen in images from the season, everything points to the strategy being to lure the monsters out of the tunnels. It might involve someone acting as bait outside, maybe using light or noise to draw the monsters away, while Boyd, Jade, and someone else go in through the passage in the colony house to get to the children's bones. And if that's really the case, my friend, things are gonna go south, because the plan might even work, but From never gives you the answer for free. There's always a price to pay along the way. And then there's Donna. The heart attack scene might just seem like a dramatic moment to make us suffer a little, but I think there's more to it, because Donna doesn't just collapse out of nowhere. Donna had already been carrying too much on her shoulders. In reality, the colony house only keeps running because she doesn't fall apart along with everyone else. But after the settlement, she comes back with some really heavy information. What people carry inside can become part of the forest. Man, that's just too much for anyone to handle. But the most important part of the scene is Boyd. Christy and Marielle get to a point where they pretty much accept that it's over. There's nothing else they can do. Donna was out for too long. Long enough for anyone there to think it was the end. But Boyd completely ignores the mood of giving up. While everyone else is starting to accept the worst, he stays right there over her, doing chest compressions, calling Donna back, almost shouting, like he refuses to lose anyone else in that place. And against all logic, she responds. And this is where the logic of the place starts to become clearer. Nathan's fear became part of that cicada terror. The dolls also seem to have come from some old trauma. The forest doesn't just kill from the outside. It takes what's already broken inside and uses it against everyone. And that's why Boyd bothers that place so much. He's the guy who keeps fighting when everyone else has already given up. It was like that with the talismans, it was like that with the worms, and now Donna's scene takes this idea to a more emotional level. He doesn't save her with a weapon or with some magic answer. He saves her because he refuses to accept one more loss. To me, that's what keeps those people going. That's why the monsters try so hard to break Boyd from the inside. Killing him would be way too easy. The real problem for the town is letting him live, standing strong, still convincing everyone else that it's not over. And Roger makes this idea even creepier because if the town really feeds on the fear of those who die there, that stitched-up body looks less like a corpse and more like something being prepared. Sarah had already said something along those lines, and now everything's starting to make sense. Roger's body shows up in that bizarre way, all patched up with a button for an eye, like the dolls have started some kind of transformation. And the show makes a point of coming back to that detail. Jade sees it and freezes. The camera lingers on the corpse's face just long enough for us to get it. This body isn't done with the story yet. When From does this, you can bet that body is still gonna cause trouble. And let me tell you something, leaving that corpse there was just dumb. Honestly, I would have found a way to get rid of that thing before nightfall, because if Roger gets up again, the town will have created a monster right in their own backyard. Even worse, he's close to the few things that can actually hurt these new creatures. It's that classic horror movie mistake. People see a clearly cursed corpse and say, let's just leave it here for a bit. No way, man. And From, just a bit is all it takes for everyone to die. That's why Fatima's Golem is starting to make more sense now. When she talks about the stories her dad used to tell, it doesn't just sound like childhood memories. It feels like the show is once again pointing toward the idea of hope. The Golem could be Fatima's version of what Boyd represents on another level, a desperate attempt to protect someone when everything around you has fallen apart. Picture this, the giant dolls attack the colony house, the talismans don't work against them, everyone gets cornered, and that Golem wakes up. Man, that would be totally insane. After everything she's been through, Fatima might end up creating one of the most important things against the forest. Not a regular weapon, but a form of protection made from the one thing that place tries to take from everyone, hope. Now let's talk about Sophia, or rather Sophia in yellow, because in this episode she pretty much reveals that she's manipulating Henry. Her scene at the bar is really weird. She sees Henry messing with the yellow suit. She realizes he knows something and approaches him in the most dangerous way possible, pretending it's just a casual conversation. Pay attention to the question she asks. When Henry talks about the man in yellow, Sophia doesn't just want to hear the story. She wants to know where he is right now. I hope he's in hell. And that's when Sophia realizes they're still in the dark. People know about the suit, they know there's a connection to Victor's trauma, but they haven't reached the most dangerous part yet. The enemy could be hiding among them. The show is pushing us toward that interpretation. The man in yellow might not be stuck with just one appearance. He can change faces, enter different cycles, and pretend he's just another lost person in that place. And then comes the disgusting detail. She cuts her hand and drips blood into his glass. That looks like a ritual. It doesn't seem like it's just blood in the glass. It seems like a way to make Henry more vulnerable to her influence. Right after that, she plants the most dangerous idea possible in his head. What if all of this is just a dream? Check this out. That's exactly the same line of thinking that made Abby, Boyd's wife, snap and start killing people. Abby believed that if everyone died, everyone would wake up. And now Sophia's putting that idea in Henry's sink. The question is Henry going to become the new Abby? And even worse, could he try to kill his own son? Because just imagine the impact that would have on Victor. Victor is already a broken character because of everything he's been through in that town. His childhood was buried in that town, especially because of the trauma with his mother and that massacre he spent years trying to push deep inside his own mind. Now imagine his father being used by the very force connected to the man in yellow. That's the kind of thing that could completely break Victor. And there's more. If Henry ends up wearing the yellow suit at any point, Victor's mind is going to snap because he'll look at his father and see the image of his trauma, the man who destroyed his family. That's just too cruel. Speaking of Victor, there's a clue that makes Sophia's story even more suspicious. The brown car. Victor starts to remember that the man in yellow showed up just like anyone else, by car, coming into the cycle through the same door the residents use. And that makes everything worse because the enemy doesn't have to show up as a monster. He can show up looking like just another lost victim, tell a convincing story, and that's it. Everyone lets their guard down. That's why Sophia is so suspicious. Ever since she showed up, there's been something off about Sophia. She doesn't react the way a normal person would in that town and always seems to be close to whoever's easiest to manipulate. Victor drawing that car is preparation. At some point, that drawing will be finished. Someone's going to recognize the car. They'll go to the junkyard, and there might be a clue there connecting the man in yellow to Sophia or to another character we haven't really been paying attention to yet. But the show is holding on to that information. And that's a little annoying, because the drawing of the man in yellow has been going around for a while now, and Julie is close enough for this to become an important discovery. But the show holds back on making that connection more than it needs to. That's the thing that bothers me most about this episode. The show's really good and the mystery works, but sometimes it holds on to information for too long. Episode 5 ended with Jade discovering the door. Episode 6 ends with Boyd discovering the same door. Things did move forward, of course, but they could have gotten to this point faster. Even so, the episode plants some important seeds for the season finale. And in the middle of all this, the scene with Julie and Sarah seems small, but it also feels like it's setting something up. Julie is still stuck on Jim's death and wants to use her powers to fix it. But messing with time and from never comes without consequences. And Sarah understands that kind of trap. She knows how the town gets into the head of someone who's vulnerable because she herself has already been used by this place. So this duo could be important down the line. Not as a separate storyline, but as part of the bigger answer. Maybe Julie needs to stop focusing only on Jim's death and start seeing where the cycle began. With the door open, the plan is finally starting to take shape. The tunnels are right there. And if Jade is right, the remains of the children are the key to breaking the sacrifice that keeps the town running. No one gets in there for free. The monsters guard that place for a reason. So Boyd's plan seems simple in theory and suicidal in practice. Distract the monsters long enough for someone to go down and mess with exactly the spot the town protects the most. But in From, nobody gets close to an answer without stirring up something even worse. Going into the tunnels might bring the group closer to the truth, but it also puts everyone in the crosshairs of the entity. If Boyd uses someone as bait, this plan is already doomed to end in tragedy. And if the Colony House door is left open, the monsters could get a direct path into the most important place in town. And when you look closely, you realize the episode was setting up disaster all along. Now Boyd knows the door exists, and that forces everyone to take action. Jade no longer just seems like some crazy guy, while Sophia has already started pushing Henry down the path to madness. And Roger's body is still there, with that look that makes it clear the show is just waiting for the right moment to use it. In the middle of all this, Donna came back from the dead with a question the show still hasn't answered. What did she see while she was out? From here on out, Boyd's plan is no longer just basement talk. Someone's gonna go down through that door, and when that happens, my friend, the town is gonna make them pay a heavy price. Because if Boyd keeps believing, maybe he'll manage to do what no one else has in the previous cycles, reach the children's bones and finally mess with the root of the curse. If you ask me, Roger's body is still gonna cause trouble. Now leave a comment below, does Boyd's hope really have power, or are we just tripping right along with Jade? Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because from here on out, this season is about to get really intense. This is Guy Santos, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.